Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Wellness Saturday. I'm having to be inside today because it's a bit wet outside. It's raining a little bit, so the sun that we've enjoyed for the last few weeks seems to be gone this morning, but that wouldn't stop us. It's been a good week. We're thankful for everything and for the current situation that we are in. But this is a Vine Health update, and the aim of this update is to bring you the facts and not fiction from the last 24 hours, and then to help you live well and to survive and thrive during this period. Our focus really is on your wellness and on you being happy and strong, and that you come out of this pandemic better than when you went in. I hope you all watched our Money Friday yesterday. If you haven't watched it, look at our videos or subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you can get all the updates from the week. So today I'm going to be talking about skincare, and skincare is important for everyone, not just for women, because as you know, our skin is the largest organ in our body, and the skin is really, really important to protect us, help her keep her temperature stable, and helps to excrete waste products. So it's important that we look after our skin. So I'll talk about skincare, also exercise and nutrition just briefly. So if you want to sort of update me on how the week has gone with your food, we talked about motivating ourselves to eat the right amounts to make the fridge our friend, not our enemy. We talked about that last week, Saturday. And it'll be interesting to see how the week has gone for you in terms of consuming calories, because again, you don't want to put on weight during this time. You don't want to get fatter, because as we know, being fat is dangerous. Being fat is dangerous. So we'll talk about that. And then we'll also talk about the importance of moving, just moving around, making sure that you're moving is really important, because again, sitting still is known as the new cancer. So you can't really sit still, you need to keep moving. So I'm going to give you lots of updates. There's been loads of updates, and so I'm going to really spend time talking about the updates. I'll start with Nigeria because Nigeria just caught my attention. As you probably all have heard already, that the Chief of Staff, Abba Kyari, has been pronounced dead, and dead from COVID-19, which is a bit sad. And our hearts go out to his family, and we know it's a difficult situation, but as we know, death comes to everyone. So he was in his 60s, according to what we've heard, and he has gone to be with his maker. So yes, that's an update from Nigeria. I mean, this was a rumor going on over the last 10 days. People have been talking about this and saying, oh, he's dead, but whether it happened yesterday or happened last week, well, it happened, and they managed it the best way possible. But apart from that, many other people are still losing their battle with that. Interestingly, the cases in Nigeria have gone up to 493, which is a big step up. And again, that gives me a slight sense of worry, because one of the assurances that some of us as medics have had is that in Nigeria, the cases weren't really going up. And so we're hoping that everything is contained. So that's a little bit worrying. And the total number of deaths now is 17 in Nigeria, with 159 having been discharged. So that makes us worried, but I'm going to keep my eye on the numbers in Nigeria, and hopefully these numbers will not double, because what was happening in the UK was that this was doubling every 3 days. So as far as, in 3 days time, we don't have a doubling of these figures, we'll feel a bit reassured. But the WHO has said that Africa is set to be the next epicenter of the pandemic. Well, as I say, I reject it. I reject it. I pray that Africa never becomes the epicenter of the COVID-19 pandemic, and the West should deal with the problems that they have, rather than saying that Africa is going to be the next epicenter. But on the back of that, again, Africa has been given, I think, $11 billion for 32 countries. They've suspended the repayment of debts from Africa. So a lot of investment, people have been given money in Africa. So the thing is, where is the money? Where is the money that is being given to Africa? And why is Africa having to always collect handouts from the West. It just makes me feel very sad that we haven't really worked hard enough to strengthen our healthcare system, and we're still in this position all these years where we're just being given handouts, and the handouts, we don't really use it for anything because the health system is still terrible. So I really hope that the government just needs to do something. Just start with one thing, even if it's electronic health records. Start with electronic health records and make the country and the continent better. I mean, after all, Rwanda is doing it, as we've heard. They are doing quite well. So that's an update from Nigeria, really. And then just to talk about the United Kingdom, the personal protective equipment is still causing a major debate in the United Kingdom. So that's still the reserves are drying up. We're all getting worried that in about 3 weeks' time there will be no PPE. The recommended covering is really not appropriate. So this nylon apron cannot work because, if you love yourself and your family, you cannot go into, seeing a patient now with that sort of covering. You need to cover everything. You need to have the right mask, visor, full covering. And unfortunately, the staff, the medical staff, particularly those who are in the hospital. I don't work in a hospital, but particularly my colleagues who work in a hospital, they need to be protected even more. So it's a little bit disheartening as to how things are and how the United Kingdom has managed it so far. So the number of deaths have gone up in the United Kingdom, and I always say to you, don't watch the news all the time. It will make you feel quite sad. So I watch it for you for an hour and I bring a summary to you. Number of deaths have gone up by 847 up until yesterday, bringing the total number in the United Kingdom to 14,576. These are human beings, these are souls like you and me. So our hearts reach out to them, and again, we just wish the family's strength, and we pray that they have strength during this very, very difficult time. It's absolutely awful. But the good thing about these numbers is that the doubling time has reduced to about 10 days. Before, we were having these numbers doubling every 2 to 3 days, and now that has reduced to 10 days. So we hope that we've hit the peak and that things will start to get better. Fingers crossed, And interestingly, for PPE, China is the main supply. Isn't that interesting? That the country where the pandemic started, where this coronavirus, COVID-19 started, and from where it spread to the rest of the world, is the same country we're all depending on for PPE. It's a head, just messes with your head. It's really strange. And everybody's waiting to get PPE from the same China where they started from. And to be honest, I think it would still be good to have a whole lot more accountability from China as a country, because while nobody can predict where the next really virulent strain will come out from, if it does come out from your house, surely you should be able to say sorry to everyone for causing it. So maybe they've done that, I don't know. But anyway, we're waiting for China to give us all of these things, so we'll see. So that's the United Kingdom. We're still all stay indoors, don't go out. It's raining today anyway, so you just need to stay indoors. And then just a quick update from the United States. It's still interesting. The United States, there's still a lot of drama and dissent between Trump and the governors, and him wanting to open up the country, despite the fact that the deaths have gone up to over 30,000. It's really not a good idea. But this is still being made, and Trump also is quite angry with China as well, saying that, and Trump said that he thinks that the coronavirus could be lab made. This is something that everyone has been sort of saying, that was there anything about it in the lab? It's a rumor, it is not evidence-based and does not have any place in our discussions. But these are the things that people are saying, so it's a real shame. So yeah, confused. PPE does not look like rocket science to me. How can it not be made here? Why must I know it's the strangest thing that, the countries don't have their own manufacturers of simple PPE. And you're right, it's just, what is PPE? It's any equipment that protects you from getting an infection. So it's basically a shower cap, a visor, which students can make, a mask, and some overalls. And it's really strange that China is being relied on for for PPE. It's the strangest thing. So maybe after this, hopefully we all sort of thrive and survive out of this, that countries will really start to look at their health systems and the weakness in the so-called Western world and the developed world, because it has really exposed a lot of weakness here in our health system. It should be mass produced in Cumbria somewhere. We shouldn't have to go abroad for this, but China does it cheap. They do it on a massive scale, and nobody else seems to be able to compete. I guess it's business, you know. The countries that will really do well out of this, I think, are the ones that acted quickly. The ones that acted quickly. So places like Germany. Germany acted so quickly. You know, they started looking for vaccines very early. They started testing. They put on the lockdown in place. You know, so that's, I think at the end of this, a massive review is needed. And I'm sure there are people evaluating how this has been handled so far. Let's just stay safe. The main thing is that we stay safe on Vine Health. I say let's just work on staying safe. So I'm going to talk about, I think that's all my updates. If there's anything else any tips, any comments, any feedback, please just pop it in there and that will be great. Now, I'll talk briefly about skincare before I then talk about exercise and diet. I mean, for people who know me personally, they know that I do like skincare. I think the skin is very important to look after because, as I said, it's the biggest organ in the body. Both your face and your body are important to look after and make sure that they're healthy. Dark skin is particularly difficult to look after, particularly as we age. So you do have to pay that extra bit of attention to your skin as a darker skinned person. It's you know, we always say that black doesn't crack, but actually many of us that have aesthetic backgrounds can tell people's ages by their skin. I'm sure you can tell my age by my skin. I have no makeup on this morning. This is me, barefaced. So you know, you can tell how old we are. So I'll give you some tips, particularly for the women, but the men too is very, very, very important. First thing, because you're on lockdown is the ideal time to supercharge your skin. Lockdown is the time to supercharge. The reason why it's the best time is that you are not encountering the dangerous UVA rays from the sun. You're not outside all the time. You're not in your car, because your car, the sun comes in, hits your skin, just damages it. You're inside the house. So this is time to really, really supercharge your skin and get those repair products that will help your skin, you know, fare better. So vitamin C is quite good for the skin, so you can take it or have creams that have, you know, vitamin C in it. That's good. But I will say to you, twice a day, wash your skin really, really well, cleanse it. But guess one thing that must be in your closet that you must have in your toiletry cupboard. If anybody can guess that, I'm going to give you a minute to just guess what is that one product that you have to have, particularly once you're over sort of 30, that you must use at least 3 times a week. And this is the time to maximize that particular product. If you know what that product is, tell me. If not, I'll tell you in about 1 minute. So you must, you know, cleanse really well, you know, make sure that you use your repair product. Whatever you use to wash your face doesn't really matter as far as I'm concerned. As far as you're not using, like, you know, really caustic soap to wash your face, but wash your face, cleanse it, get a cheap cleanser from somewhere. You don't need to have anything massively expensive. But the main thing that you should have is that you should have a repair product that is medical grade that you use to renew the cells on your skin. And then that's actually, you can use that a lot this time, so that when you go back into the sun, into regular days, your skin has really achieved some sort of, you know, love, and, you know, it looks and feels loved. And obviously when you go back to going outside, remember your SPF, so your sunblock. Even as a black person, you need to wear sunblock. People say black people don't need to wear sunblock. No, you do need to wear sunblock. Your skin can get damaged by the sun as well. Okay, so nobody has offered me the trick, the one, you know, the one product that you must have as anyone who is really serious about looking after their skin, and it's called retinol. I mean, I have one here. I don't particularly subscribe to any particular brand, but as far as it's medical grade, so this is Perfect A. This is retinol, so vitamin A for your skin. And vitamin A, what it does is that it just renews the surface of your skin and helps to regenerate those cells very, very quickly. And during this lockdown period, what you can do is just make sure that you're using that 3 times a week at night. So you cleanse, you use your mask if you want to use your mask, and then you put the treatment on, which is a vitamin A. So that's one tip for your skin, and obviously your rest of your body as well. Make sure you are moisturizing really well. Right, so that's one trick. So anyway, I'm going to finish off today with our food and exercise. So how's the food thing going? I hope you're eating healthy, and I hope the last week what I said to you was that if you just try and schedule your food. Some people do intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is great. So going to bed the night before at 8 o'clock, not eating anything for at least 16 hours after that. So eating after 10 or after 11 in the morning, and scheduling your food, scheduling your snacks so that your body can stay slim and you can stay, just really trim, for the rest of this time. So try and do that with your food. Remember the number of calories the average person needs a day, particularly when you're not working hard. Number of calories you need a day is sort of about 2,000 calories for a woman and 2,500 for a man. And you can look at the packets of most foods for what their calories are. I always say whatever you're eating, a fist for any carbs is good enough, and 2 fists for vegetables. Just make sure that you're doing that, you're eating right. Avoid refined foods if you can. I'm not saying you shouldn't eat cakes and donuts and all of that, but try and keep it to a minimum, because those are the ones that will make your midsection collect the fat. As we get older, as I say, that the bad fat is really stored in your midsection. That's why I say don't weigh yourself. But if you really, really want to start measure your waist circumference. And for a man, it should be 34, and for a woman, it should be 31. So if it's bigger than that, really, it means that you're storing bad fat, and maybe it's because you're eating the wrong foods. So just work on that. But again, losing weight is very challenging. It's tough, and I don't make light of it at all, because it is a challenging thing to do. So what I'll say to you is that just take those little steps day by day. Do the best you can. Don't pressure yourself. Don't weigh yourself. Just watch the foods you're eating. Eat everything in moderation. In moderation is good. And that's, if you want any more sort of tips on food and exercise and supplements and all of that, just send us questions. We always answer your questions, and we'll be happy to do that. And remember to drink water. That's my liter bottle of water, and my plan is to have at least 1.5 of this during the day. It's very difficult. I don't really like drinking water, so I have to measure it. So drink your water as well. Helps to clear your skin and just detoxify you generally as well. And your exercise, last week we talked about the plank. I don't know if anybody has done their planks this morning. Do your plank, do your step ups and step down on the stairs, as we said. Just do like 3 reps of this. Do your push-ups, anything you can do at home, because you can't really go out that much. I mean, if you take your one exercise a day, then go for a walk, go for a run. I still go for my run. I still manage to get my 10,000 steps in. So, and again, the exercise is good for our mental health. So it's not just the fact that we want to stay slim. We know that exercise is one thing that is proven to keep your mood up, particularly when people are struggling in lockdown. If you're struggling in lockdown, feeling sad, feeling anxious, feeling low, I can tell you that if you exercise or you just go outside for a walk and go for a run, you will feel much, much better. I definitely have to do that. I always tell people that I have to run, because when I run, it raises my energy levels, it raises my mood. I feel a bit happier. I feel much happier actually. So try and do that as well, and maybe write it down. If you're struggling to motivate yourself, we talked about the science of motivation last week. There are things that you can do to motivate yourself. We talked about having a schedule, and we talked about not sort of pressuring yourself for the outcome. One other thing I'll add to that is writing down your plans as well. So just writing down what you intend to do today, or if you intend to do some exercise today, write it down. Exercise today. Normally when you see it in front of you, you are more motivated to do it. And as some of the texts say, write down your vision, make it plain. If you write it down, you're more likely to achieve it than if you don't write it at all. So that's our Wellness Saturday. Keep yourselves well. This body is the only one you've got. This temple is the only one you've got. And if you're going to help other people, you have to be well yourself. If you're not well yourself, you really cannot give out of an unwell body or an unwell mind. So your job today, Saturday, is to focus on being well. Check yourself. Where are you mentally? Where are you physically? Is your mind balanced? Are you happy or are you sad? Are you depressed or are you anxious? Are you hearing voices? Are you not sleeping well? Those are all signs of being mentally unwell. And sometimes being honest with ourselves is so important. And there's no shame in it. There's no embarrassment with it. Every single person is on a mental health spectrum. Every one of us, even for the people who think they've got this. Actually, we are all, on a mental health spectrum, and it's a very, very fine balance. Thank you, Vivian. Thank you. It's a very fine balance. It can be tipped very, very, very quickly. So that balance is achieved in different ways. Your exercise, your nutrition, your spiritual health, your meditation, your prayer, whatever you can do, make sure you do it really well and just stay well. If you have any questions, let us know. Saturday is dedicated to wellness. I'm going to focus on my wellness today, the rest of the day. And I think I have one engagement online later, which I'll do. And then, as I always do, every weekend, we don't do, on Sundays, I don't come for this updates. Mine's definitely unbalanced today. What's going on? Why is your mind unbalanced today? I know, if you just want to share a little bit, but why is your mind unbalanced, and what are you doing to try and get it back if you can? Please post that in the comment box, and more than happy to chat with you after this as well, just to figure out where you are. But as I always say, sometimes just acceptance. And a few weeks ago I talked about acceptance, because we always struggle to be happy all the time and to get things right. And sometimes it's okay to cry. one of my children, they said, "Oh, I'm really sad, I'm really upset, I'm really," and I always say, it's okay to be sad. Actually, it's godly sorrow. It's okay to be sad. And just the acceptance of how you feel at that moment sometimes is helpful. Just being aware of how you feel. So, Vivian, I really, send you love and light and wellness and balance. And that the process that you're going through, you will have some palliation and an improvement to it. Oh yes, because I know you're stuck in, I'm really sorry about this. This is really awful. And it's just not the right thing for what's going on. Everybody being stuck in different countries, but I'm going to call you after this and we're going to talk about this, because it's really, really ridiculous. So, it's okay to feel, and I know you're a picture of positivity actually. And sometimes just saying, what, I don't want to, I don't feel happy right now, and that's okay, and I don't feel happy right now. Accept that feeling of how you feel at that moment, and then be aware of yourself, and just spend some time in meditation and prayer, and breathe. And I always say that just the act of being aware of one's breath is really, really, really healing. Yeah, I know. I'm so sorry, but I'll be calling you right after this as well. Just being aware of one's breath is so healing, and just, accepting the moment, going with the flow, and hoping that tomorrow will be better. So guys, tomorrow there will be no update as usual, because Sunday is meant for our own, because I've got pins and needles in my legs now. Sunday is meant for our own deep spiritual practice. Deep spiritual practice is important. Everyone has a spiritual practice, whether you believe in any higher power or not, whether you believe in God or not. You know that the physical is transient, is temporary, and the spiritual actually is sort of more impact in our lives. So I always say that Sunday is for just that moment of reflection with yourself, if you're alone, with your family, and just, reflecting on your spirituality. Spirituality is important. I'm not endorsing anyone, but spirituality is important. So Sunday is usually for a deep spiritual practice, and I will be having my wellness Saturday today, a deep spiritual practice tomorrow, and on Monday we'll be back again with sort of more tips and more news. There was a question asked yesterday which I've answered already. I posted the answer. Someone asked a question about the difference between D3 and vitamin D. So vitamin D and D3, the difference between that, and I explained that it's on the page. So if you want to know the difference between D3 and vitamin D, I've explained it clearly for you to read there. Thank you so much for everyone who's watching this. You make me motivated to continue to do this, and as I said, I will carry on doing this until the end of the pandemic, until things start to go down in a sustained way, and then we will sort of maybe have more gaps between the days and maybe not have it every day, but I'll continue in some form or the other. Subscribe to our YouTube page, share the Vine Health page, like, share, follow, just share the word so that we can keep reaching as many people and helping people thrive. Stay away from the news all day, be happy, be joyous despite the situation. And again, send me any questions and comments and any tips or anything you want me to talk about. Have a great day, everyone. Take care. Bye.